Hey, hi, welcome back to Digit.in. My name is Vignesh, and what I have with me today is the Asus F570. Now, this is one of the most affordable gaming laptops you can find in the market today. It does not have an Intel Core series CPU, but an AMD Ryzen 5. It also has 8GB of RAM and a 1TB hard drive. Now, to game, this thing gets an NVIDIA GTX 1050 with 4GB of video RAM. How does all this work out in our review? Let's find out, shall we? Alright then, let's start with the build and design. The Asus F570 is only made of plastic on the outside but feels strong enough for everyday use. The top cover feels like it can take scratches and minor bumps but not big drops. The top cover and the area around the keyboard have a brushed metallic finish which lends the laptop an attractive look. While the body itself is in black, some of the borders around the Asus logo are neatly accented in teal. The display can be opened with the push of a single finger but takes some effort. But be careful not to wrestle the lid open because it's quite slim and flimsy. We hope you don't mind bezels because the ones around the F570's display are thick. The build and design of the F570 seems commensurate with its reasonable price of 52,990 rupees. The display on the Asus F570 is a 15.6-inch Full HD unit with an aspect ratio of 16:9. At 60Hz, the refresh rate is less than half of that offered by the Asus TUF series displays, but given the laptop's price, that's forgivable. What's not forgivable is the display's worrisomely low contrast. The white from the backlight bleeds through the colors badly to a point where one begins to wonder if Asus has forgotten to add colors to the display altogether. According to the display test, the Asus F570's display covers only 58% of the colors on the sRGB color scale and 43% of the colors on the Adobe RGB color scale. That's alarmingly low, isn't it? Audio on the Asus F570 comes through Asus's SONICMASTER speakers, co-developed by the Asus Golden Ear team. The speakers are neither too loud nor too feeble. At max volume, you can listen to instrumental music quite clearly when the cubicles around you in the office are empty. If there's a noisy gathering around you, you'll have trouble. These speakers are best reserved for vocals and music that's not too heavy on bass because you'll hear or feel none of it. In summary, they're a slightly better pair than the usual concealed downward firing speakers you'd find on most affordable laptops. The Asus F570 isn't shy to offer ports for connectivity. On the left side, we see two USB 2.0 Type A ports and a 3.5mm jack for headsets, along with a lock slot. On the right side, we see the power port, a LAN port, a USB 3.1 Type A port, an HDMI port, a USB 3.1 Type C port, and a micro SD card slot. What's not on offer is a fingerprint scanner. Your quickest sign-in method on Windows 10 then is a 4-digit PIN. Despite a few oddities, this keyboard is one of the best you'll see from Asus. The keys on it are large and soft to press. Even though they seem a bit too soft for accurate feedback sometimes, I find myself having little trouble registering a key press. The backlighting is single zone and there are no borders around the WASD keys. This may make some gamers grumble, but I'm quite happy with the simplicity of it. What's a bit peculiar is that Asus has chosen to make what's usually an enter key on that super slim numpad a delete key and the right control key extra long. No, seriously, that control key is half the width of the spacebar. On the bright side, the context key makes a return on the Asus F570. Hooray! The touchpad on the Asus F570 is a standard precision unit which makes swiping and clicking a breeze. Multi-finger gestures can be controlled directly through Windows settings. The physical touchpad keys beneath require some force to be clicked but are otherwise responsive. Let's take a look at the performance of this machine, shall we? The Asus F570 is powered by an AMD Ryzen 5 processor and 8GB of RAM. Taking care of the graphics department is an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1050 graphics card with 4GB of GDDR5 RAM. The only odd one out in this setup is the storage drive. It's a Toshiba 1TB hard drive spinning at 5400 RPM. It's also what I believe makes the F570 more sluggish than it actually is. Working with everyday applications like Google Chrome, Microsoft Excel and iTunes is mostly a pleasant experience, but there are times the laptop stalls for a few good seconds. A cold boot to desktop takes over a minute to happen. Opening a rarely used context menu within applications or clicking on the Wi-Fi icon in the taskbar makes the system hang for a few good seconds. In my observation, the hard drive is almost always thrashing even when other system resources seem available. So do yourself a favor and upgrade to a solid-state drive or even a hybrid solid-state drive at the time of purchase. But a word of advice to those of you looking to upgrade later: go straight to an Asus service center. Do not try to open the laptop up by yourself. Not only will it void your warranty, it's really hard to access the insides of the Asus F570. Clearly, Asus has made it very hard to upgrade this machine by the user. Gaming performance is surprisingly better than expected on the Asus F570. Doom ran on full HD resolution and ultra graphics settings at around 50 frames per second and dropped to 40 frames per second during action sequences. Lowering the settings to medium bumped the frame rate up and locked it at 60 frames per second for most part of the gameplay. What's good about the F570 is that at no point does the package temperature of the AMD Ryzen 5 processor cross 50 degrees Celsius. There's no apparent heat on the keyboard surface or the base. Battery performance on the Asus F570 can be described as average at best. The review unit scored 5 hours 20 minutes on our standard battery benchmark test. On daily usage tests where Wi-Fi and Bluetooth are turned on, the screen brightness is set to 60% and the CPU usage is on the higher side, the Asus F570 lasted about 3.5 hours on a single full charge. Charging from 20% to full took 2 straight hours. If you're using it for some light web browsing, expect about 4 hours of battery life at the best. Well then folks, all things considered, for 52,990 rupees, I think this Asus F570 is a great gaming machine. But do yourself a favor, do not stick to this hard drive that it comes with. Get yourself an upgrade, but of course, don't do it yourself. Well anyhow, that's it for this machine. I hope you enjoyed watching that video. If you did, hit the like button below. I'll see you in the next one, and do not forget to subscribe, of course, that's another thing. See ya.